Hey, all right. Welcome back to another wonderful day here at MSA. So glad you could be here. And yes, the smile on my face is real. You could say it's because of Mr. Tony Bobulinski. Boy, I'll tell you what, going up in front of that interview today and getting, sworn in under oath and telling what he had to say about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and their business and everything that was going on, absolutely beautiful. It's been too long that the American public's been lied to about all of this and how it didn't happen. I didn't know about my son's dealings and all that. It amazes me. We've done multiple stories on things like this. Joe talks to his family, every family member every day, calls them and all these things. And, now Tony Bobulinski comes in and confirms what other people have already said. And now it's for real. It's a big deal. He confirmed what the CEFC is. He confirmed all the things that we've been wondering what's going on. Bobulinski walked in and confirmed it. Not only did he just talk about it, but he brought in phones that had messages and from multiple people and other people saying, don't talk about Joe Biden. Don't put Joe Biden's name in a message and all these different things. But guess what? He has them. And in a second, we're going to roll a clip so you can see exactly some of the things that Bobulinski talked about. And when we're done with the clip, we'll get right back to it. So see you in just a second. So hang in there.
I personally met with Joe Biden in Los Angeles in May of 2017 multiple times to discuss the broad contours of our business dealings. Those are the words of Biden China business partner Tony Bobulinski, and they are damning. Hunter's former business associate, who was the first to come forward with evidence and receipts of the Biden family's influence peddling scheme, gave testimony today that evidently was explosive in the House impeachment probe against Joe Biden. In his transcribed interview before members of both political parties, Bobulinski stated the Chinese Communist Party, through its surrogate China Energy Company Limited, or CEFC, a CCP-linked Chinese energy conglomerate, successfully sought to infiltrate and compromise Joe Biden and the Obama-Biden White House. His family's foreign influence peddling operation from China to Ukraine and elsewhere sold out to foreign actors who were seeking to gain influence and access to Joe Biden and the United States government. This was a very big day, and House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer joins us tonight. Congressman, it's good to have you back on. Tell us, in your estimation, the most explosive things that we heard from Bobulinski today, or you heard, I should say.
Well, two things. First of all, he talked about his interaction with Joe. And remember, Joe has said he never met any of the Biden associates, and we've proven that he met with all of them. Tony Bobulinski met with Joe on more than one occasion. And I think most explosive, he talked about what exactly CEFC was and what their objective was. And Rob, their objective very simply was to initiate the Belt and Road Initiative in the United States. Everything that Congress agrees on in a bipartisan manner with respect to China, preventing China from owning farmland, preventing China from buying manufacturing companies, from buying energy companies. This is what CEFC was doing. They were the investment arm of the Chinese Communist Party that was trying to infiltrate our American markets and start taking over our markets. Yes. They had all this cash and they wanted to invest it in anything they could, and the Bidens were there to help them remove barriers of entry to our markets.
Bobulinski's testimony alleges, I would say, treason. I would say that. I mean, if you are working on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party while you are as Vice President of the United States, I don't know how else you would explain that.
Okay, you got it. You see that? There's the start. Now, a while ago, we ran a story that, we're talking about the CEFC right now. We ran a story that on Hunter Biden's laptop, they found a map of the United States that was in Chinese. It was a PowerPoint presentation, and it was a map of all the natural gas resources within our country, all the land and everything. And it was a PowerPoint presentation because the Bidens were going to sell it to the Chinese. So isn't it amazing how we go with this global warming effect, and now Joe has our Department of Energy put a slowdown on all the permits for the drilling, and now we have a pause on liquid natural gas but they do a pause on all the drilling. But yet we had this map showing all the places that they wanted to sell to the Chinese. So you can't sell it if someone's renting it, right? But now it's all vacant. Amazing. How all this starts to really fit together is absolutely amazing, and it's wonderful that it's finally coming out. You know, Bobulinski came in and did what he was supposed to do. And I'll be honest with you, I wish that Hunter would have came in and gave his deposition, because I would have loved to hear how he purged himself compared to what Bobulinski just dropped on him. So you heard what Comer had to say. You heard what the reporter had to say. Now, here's something I really want you to hear. It's just about a minute long, but Comer's going to tell you how the Democrats reacted to this today. And this will show some true colors. So watch this clip real fast and we'll be right back.
You've stated today that you've never seen Democrats react the way that they did today for what we had today, which was a transcribed interview. You've never seen the behavior from the Democrat Party as you've seen today. Explain that to us.
I've never seen such witness intimidation as what I saw today. And it wasn't necessarily from the Democrat staff who were leading the deposition. It was from the members. It was from Jamie Raskins. It was from Goldman. It was from Garcia. It was from Crockett. They were there. They were wagging their fingers. They were pointing. They were yelling. They were calling Tony Bobulinski a liar. They were telling him to shut up. Wow. Tony Bobulinski is an American hero. He stood there. He told the truth. He went under oath. And they can't handle the truth, Rob. The Democrats can't handle the truth.
Okay, you heard it. Isn't that amazing, the names that come out? Raskin, Goldman, Garcia, Crockett, telling him to shut up, telling him he's a liar, telling him all these things. Isn't that funny how that works out? And why is that? Same ones that when you're watching any of these committee hearings and somebody starts sparking on the truth, Mr. Speaker, or anything to butt in to try to get a pause in what someone's saying so the truth can't be told. And then they show up today, and what are they doing? Telling him he's a liar and all this kind of stuff. Why is that? Because they knew the truth all along. They knew what was real. They know what's coming down the pike. It's just a matter of time before everything starts to crumble for them, because they've been riding high on the hog, but they've been doing it the wrong way. They've been doing it by burning the American public. And we all know this. Unfortunately, not enough of us are standing up and making our voices heard. You see the protests and all the other stuff and the marches and all those other things that gets broadcast. And guess what? When those things get broadcast, you have one media outlet over here that talks about what actually happened. And then you have another media outlet over here that spins it as much as they can spin it. I watched a thing from MSNBC about the Mayorkas impeachment and how he's done nothing wrong. He's not committed any crimes. Are you joking? Read the Constitution. I don't know how MSNBC can still be on the air. I think they should be banned for life for lying to the American public. And they should be brought up on charges, for violation of the rules. I mean, there's got to be something. I understand freedom of speech, but when you're deceptively leading the public, that's a whole nother thing. Now, back into Bobulinski. How do you feel about him? Put it in some comments. We need people to like, share, and subscribe to these stories. We need to help getting these messages out there, because there's a lot of suppression going on, especially right now. You see the Democratic Party, they're losing their mind. They're losing their leader. I mean, right now, censorship and everything like that is at its peak. Trust me. Help us out. Like, share, and subscribe. That way the algorithms get out there and this thing can just start moving on its own like it's supposed to. Now, I know we've already played 2 clips. We've got a third one. This third one's extremely important. And you hear me say it all the time when I'm playing these clips. They're really important. But it ties a lot of this together. So, because you need to understand this last part. This is super important. It's like, where did Bobulinski come from? Why is it taking so long? We've heard the name, but we've heard nothing about this guy. And why haven't we heard anything about this guy? So do me a favor. Watch this clip real quick and you'll understand why you haven't heard anything about this guy. And then we'll be right back.
One more thing. Bobulinski says since 2020, when he walked into the FBI's Washington field office with phones containing encrypted messages between himself, Biden family members and their associates. Remember, Bobulinski has had all of this evidence on phones. He has messages, them saying, don't mention Joe Biden's name in writing. All of this he has from other business associates like James Gilliar. Law enforcement never contacted him about this. Even as he prepared for today's testimony, it's not even David Weiss, who's been looking at Hunter Biden for years now, reached out to him. Nobody wants to talk to Tony Bobulinski. The media doesn't want to talk to him. The DOJ does not want to talk to this man. He doesn't really exist, in their world.
Yeah, and he's the most credible person by far of anyone that was ever involved at any point during the Biden schemes. I mean, Bobulinski, the reason that he never, at the end of the day, finalized his deal with the Bidens was because he was concerned about the ethics. He was concerned once he learned exactly what CEFC was. He's a patriot. He served his country. He's a third-generation American soldier in his family.
And that's all fine. He served his country, but let's be honest. He also got burned. They tried to cut him out. They tried to cut him out of a deal. Hunter tried to defraud him and tried to take his money from him. And you know what? They crossed the wrong guy. And yes, he's a patriot. His family was in the military. He was in the military as well. But then they tried to take his money. Hunter, greedy, tried to take his money. And now you have this. But it's just amazing to me for people out there that don't believe that we live in some kind of information matrix in this country. You do. Because this guy has been trying to get in front of everybody that he can for the last several years. He's been trying to get in front of Jake Tapper at CNN. Nobody will talk to him. The DOJ won't call him back. And he has, again, as you said, this is the most damning evidence we've seen. This is direct evidence of what I would consider to be treasonous behavior. I mean, you are working to the benefit of the Chinese Communist Party while you're the American vice president.
Absolutely. There's no question. This is the second witness under oath who has testified to this. We've demonstrated a pattern here. We've already demonstrated a pattern in Joe Biden lying. You mentioned earlier the FBI knew. Not only was this a bad day for Joe Biden, it was another bad day for the FBI. Yeah. My goal, Rob, at the end of this investigation is that everyone is held accountable for wrongdoing, not just the Bidens for the crimes they committed, but for every deep state government actor that was involved in the cover-up. That's our objective, to try to create the final report that has criminal referrals and identifies the federal employees who were involved in this cover-up, because this is an investigation of public corruption at the highest level, and no one has been held accountable. And what we're trying to do with all these interviews, with all these depositions, with all of the testimony is to try to put together a case to hold people accountable for wrongdoing.
Went to the FBI with evidence in hand. Went to the Department of Justice. CNN didn't want to interview him. Isn't that a shocker? And why is that? The best part I love in there is when they talk about David Weiss and how David Weiss never came forward to talk to him, even though he's supposedly investigating Hunter Biden, right? But if you remember in some of the other segments I've talked about, Hunter Biden has a brother that passed away by the name of Bo Biden. Bo Biden was the Attorney General in Delaware. David Weiss and Bo Biden worked together on many cases for years. They're friends. Why do you think Hunter has been investigated for 5 years by David Weiss? And their favorite thing to say is, well, Weiss was appointed by Trump. Yeah. So then how come when you're talking about when Biden just got interviewed by special counsel, why is it that her was appointed by Trump, and now that must be a thing that's coming after the Democrats, and all that? So which side of the fence can you play it on? Because Weiss was appointed by Trump, her was appointed by Trump. So Weiss is doing a good job 5 years later. I'd be fired if that was me. But her is doing a bad job because he must be putting things out there that aren't true about Joe Biden, even though we see him hide from the press all the time or trip up on his words or sometimes just get completely lost in what he's trying to say and all that wonderful thing. And his love for ice cream. Look it up on the internet sometime. People with dementia love ice cream. It's soothing. It's calming. Just look it up sometime. I'm not joking. It's a real thing. Anyway, so Bobulinski comes forward, tries to come to the FBI, tries to go to the Department of Justice, tries to even get out to the news media, and nobody wants to talk to him. Why do you think that is? Truth hurts. And when you have a guy that you know is going to come out and tell the truth and he's not going to lie about it, you don't want him to go to anybody because it opens the can of worms faster than you can close all the doors and the hatches that you need to get shut down and suppressed. That's the only way you can look at it, you know. And all this stuff about witch hunt on my father and all this, yeah, it wasn't a witch hunt, Hunter. You know that. But, well, maybe you don't because you were too high at the time. But while the rest of us weren't high, your dad was out creating a big, big mess for all of your family. Because guess what? What he did is against the law. What you did is against the law. So, either way, I am so glad that this has come out because it puts a lot. Now, it's going to get crazy. Trust me. Bobulinski is going to get everything thrown at him that he's just a liar. Every Democrat on the planet is going to come out and talk about how horrible this guy is, how unreliable his sources are, everything about him, although he has physical evidence. But let's see how this plays out. And while we do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe. We need you. We've got to grow this channel, and we need your help. And I ask you all the time, so please help. And either way, love every single one of you. Hope that you're having a great day, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And we'll be seeing you again with a lot more. Take care of yourself. Have a good one. Bye.